something is wrong. Mom and Larry start going on and on about how God informed them how to rid the demons from us. They say they are going to save our souls. According to them, the way to rid us of our demons is to drink Bleach milkshakes. I hide in my room with the door shut. I know no matter what is to come, that the closed door will not help me.
You can't make this up. Horrific.
34-year-old Barbara Carrasco, who along with her 49-year-old husband Larry, is accused of nearly a dozen counts of torture and extreme child abuse involving their 6 and 13-year-old daughters.
Just unbelievable. It gives me chills just thinking about it.
Investigators say the parents are involved in the occult and believing their daughters were possessed.
She believed that she is pregnant with Jesus Christ's baby and that her daughters are demons.
And the viciousness for which these parents did to these girls, and it never should have happened.
Sometimes the truth comes at a very heavy expense.
Alexia is missing. Neighbors say they haven't seen the little girl since July.
This is what American Dream looks like, but you never know what happens behind closed doors. I like where we live and I like having the space, but I think with having kids, I would have preferred to be living more residential so I could kind of shoo my kids to their friends' houses easier, but it's still nice, safe living. Chickens! We have almost 2 acres of land with some chickens. Move, chickies. Move, chickies. Well, I tell people all the time that in the beginning, before I processed everything, it was like I told it like I saw a movie. Like somebody else lived it and I'm just telling you about it. And that's kind of just how I still do it to this day. Like I'm completely aware that I lived through it and I survived. But I don't attach emotion to it because I didn't ever process the emotions while they were happening.
I've been with this department since 1984. Things you live with the rest of your life, you never forget. I moved to Elk Grove in 1989. During that time period, not a lot of homicides in Elk Grove. Elk Grove was a sleepy suburban town. Home burglaries, things like that, but as far as violent shootings, homicides in Elk Grove, they were pretty much non-existent.
When I first moved from Elk Grove, I didn't necessarily want to because I didn't want to move schools in the middle of the school year. I was in 6th grade, but I had no choice anyway. But when I went to the house and saw the house, I was like, wow, this is like one of the nicest houses I've ever seen. We had just moved so much and we always rented. Barbara just said she got married, she met a man, got married, and...
Next thing you know, they were dating. And I mean, like that, she was moving in and they got married on October 31st on Halloween. Like, it was like 6 months after, like boom, boom, boom. And then, like I said, everything started changing.
He was a bus driver, and she said he was stable. He had a home, and he, 3 bedrooms, and Larry owned it. I'm like, this is going to be good for us. Things were going to be different. But as time goes on, I realized he's just mean. He just wanted Barbara and wanted that companionship with her. And then he got stuck with Barbara, Barbara's mother, and Barbara's children.
Did you ever call Barbara Mom?
Yeah, I did for a long, long time.
When did it stop? When did you just start referring to her as Barbara?
As soon as I wasn't near her anymore. I didn't think she deserved the title of mother. That's me and Alexia. Barbara liked to have us around when she could show us off to make herself look like a good mother. But when it came down to really parenting, that was my grandma's job. Barbara, in the height of her addiction, it wasn't like a aha moment, like all of a sudden, whew. It was like this gradual paranoia that she had. That first it was people just watching her, or someone was in the house. And then, a couple of days later, she was reading codes and messages in newspapers. And then it was, I'm God and I'm pregnant with Jesus. It just progressively got worse and worse and worse.
She had pills and pills and pills and books to tell you what the pills were. She had all these things like You know, yeah, all these theories. So-and-so tapped the phones because they worked there. So-and-so did this because he works there. So-and-so did that, they worked there. She had all these things that she was conjuring up. And then my dad was believing them.
That's where she was in her, I guess, drug-induced delusions. I started sounding like Barbara when I would yell at my daughter. And I realized once that was happening that I had to address it. Because I refused therapy until about a year ago.
It's very rare that someone who's had the trauma that she has had, the type of trauma, the level of it, to be self-aware that she even needs to make any kind of changes. Hey, Jess, you ready? So EMDR is a technique for treating trauma.
And he has you close your eyes and just think. It's weird to say it, but you try to turn those negative things and try to find a positive in them.
And let me know when you have all that and we'll get started.
Okay. It's almost like you're there again. You can smell the smells, feel the feels, the temperature in the room, remember things that are said, like a lot of stuff that I wanted to not remember. It was like instantly back. A few hours later, there's a knocking on the front door. It is my mom. You'll have dreams, you might remember more things, write them down, we can discuss them when you come back.
She came back like 3 weeks later and said, well, I'm on page 30 of my book. And I was like, I didn't even know that she was writing a book.
I didn't know if I was actually going to publish it, but I knew I was going to write it. They chat back and forth down to what? I will never legs and arms taped down, sweat, and I hear yelling and Alexia crying.
Things get worse. My mother's paranoia affects us all. My windows have been nailed shut with a lock on the outside of the door. I do not even know what we do to get in trouble most of the time. My mom can find any reason to hurt us.
Really got bad end of my 7th grade year, and then the summer before 8th grade. I mean, my mother was always abusive in some kind of way, but it wasn't to the extreme of that.
I wasn't really allowed to go over there too much after they came into the picture. I remember meeting Jessica outside of the house. I think he wouldn't even let me go in at first. We went inside for a little bit, and then it was like, okay, you gotta go, bye.
And then it got horrible once she kicked my grandmother out, because my grandmother was the one who really took care of the kids and protected us from whatever weird crap Barbara was into at the time. But then that summer when my grandmother didn't live there, it became a lot more physical. I guess you would say it's violence, even though it wasn't like beating. It was torture.
I do not know what happens to Alexia when I am at school, but I do notice changes in her. She never smiles anymore and will not play with her baby dolls anymore. I found them hidden under my bed. I asked her why, and she said that babies are bad and need time out like she gets. I'm getting scared.
You already started to see signs of sort of paranoia and
yes,
how this was all manifesting.
But I didn't know that it had anything to do with Alexia yet. Like, I had no idea any of this.
At one point, she poured bleach in our ears and our eyes and held us down while she did that. She made me watch as she killed our dogs. Anything to maintain the control that she had.
In the family room, I'm feeding Alexia breakfast. And to my surprise, both Larry and my mom are awake. They are never up this early. Something is wrong. Mom and Larry start going on and on about how God informed them how to rid the demons from us. The way to rid us of our demons is to drink Bleach milkshakes. We have to drink the shakes 3 times a day for 8 days. I don't want to drink a Bleach milkshake. Drinking a chemical cannot be good. For God's sake, it tells you not to ingest it on the damn bottle. This is bad.
It burns a lot, and it's horribly disgusting, but I kept it down because there wasn't any other option.
I do the math. 3 times a day for 8 days is 24 bleach shakes. We have 1 down and 23 to go.
There was more talks of the demons and the vampires, and I was forced to sleep out in the shed a couple times, and windows bolted shut, and progressively got more physical.
Confused with my blurred eyes, I try to adjust to the minimal light in the shed. Time to rid her of her demons. It is not safe to have her here, Barbara exclaims. Then splashes of warm liquid fall from my head, dripping down my body. Larry states, "You like that, don't you?" My skin gets hot. I feel a sensation of burning along my head, shoulders, back, and thighs. I do not know what to do.
And then you have to go to school, right?
Yep.
What finally clicked at that point, like, hey, this is the day that I can't, this has got to be it. I can't do this anymore.
Nothing until the last period of school. I was still just going to go home. It was math class and I hated it. But I did at that last moment. I was like, well, this is it. Like, either I tell this teacher that happens and hopefully maybe something is going to happen to keep me safe, or I go home where I know it's not safe and I probably won't be alive much longer. I don't even remember what I said, but it was like a rush, one breath, and just like pleading with my eyeballs, like, please just don't send me back.
Well, I'm going to cry right now because it just... So, no, we're very excited. This has been a long time coming for her, and she's a pill. So that unconditional love and acceptance is not easy, let me just tell you. Okay, we are just now being let off, and then I'll be on my way. Okay, I'm gonna go on over there. Okay. Yay! Hey, girl! I just told him you're a pill. Yeah.
I always am.
And I have a mic on me. So don't say what you're thinking. Okay, how was the flight?
Long.
Long, yeah. It's very long.
Straight or turning?
Turning right.
Right.
So where are we going to?
Going to the House of Horrors. Like, well, at least it was.
When's the last time you've been to this place?
September 7th, 1997. Oh, we're close. It's this house right here.
Okay, what are we doing? Are you gonna ask to go in?
I feel weird about that. Yeah, well, there's a whole thing about those gardenias. If there's, it still looks like the gardenias. My sister used to pick them every time we came outside. And she loved them because they smell so good. And she would always get yelled at to not pick them, but she did it anyway. So it was like the best memory because she loved them so much. So that was like the thing I remember most about this house is.
She remembers flowers here.
Wow, no. Is the shed still in the back? The shed still in the back?
See.
It's the same countertop. It's the same countertop in the kitchen, everything.
Really?
Yeah, they didn't change a thing. Yeah, except for just new flooring in the hallway. They took the carpet out. This is what American Dream looks like. But you never know what happens behind closed doors.
You know, all these years I thought I was special because she waited till 6th period, picked me to tell. And I asked her just recently, I said, why did you decide to pick me? And she said, because you were my last class, and if I didn't, I was going to go home.
I just remember biting the bullet and almost like word vomit. Because I was trying to get my courage up and just, I don't even remember what I said.
She said, I can't go home, I need to find my granny. And she showed me, she said they poured bleach on me.
When I looked at her skin, I could tell it was burned, but it was not until I really went into the restroom with her and where she was able to lift her shirt and see it was extensive to the point where my eyes just watered up.
Her entire bra was burned into her back. I mean, yeah, I've never seen anything like that, welted.
I do remember going to the hospital and then riding in the police car to the receiving home where I was left. I was just kept telling myself, this has got to be better than going home. And I remember Tammy telling me, she goes, I'll be there with you through it all. Basically, as long as you want me around, I'll be there. I didn't believe her.
Barbara and Larry Carrasco were arrested in their Elk Grove home last month. This after their 13-year-old daughter showed her school teacher how her arms, back, and hip were doused with bleach.
The girl went to school the next day and went through 5 periods in immense pain. And finally, her 6th period, she broke down and told her teacher that she was in so much physical pain.
She also told Ms. Cooper that she and her sister had been forced to drink bleach daily for 8 days.
But then the neighbors said, well, where's the little 5-year-old girl that rides a trike in the front yard?
The signs of a search are still visible in this Elk Grove home, a backyard dug up, investigators looking for a body, searching for 6-year-old Alexia Real, missing since July.
Now sheriff officials are working with the FBI on the case against the parents.
All my life, I wanted to be an FBI agent. You know, whenever they had a child involved, they'd call me. And no one was able to locate her or find out what her status was. And we went down to the Elk Grove house looking around. And what was really strange when we looked around the house was that the pictures that would have had Alexia's picture in there, her face was cut out. It was very, very eerie. While we were there, Barbara was calling in. You know, nobody answers the phone. What the f***? I answered the phone. And she's talking to me, hello, my love, you know, can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? And I'm saying, yeah, Barbara, but I need to find Alexia. Where is she? You know, and I'm trying to get her to tell me, which she never did.
And then next thing you know, like I said, the FBI was knocking on my door and it was all over the news and like, whoa, what's going on?
There's a good possibility she's alive, but also there's a possibility that she has mental foul play. So we really can't rule out either one at this point.
The search for Alexia began the 1st of October, soon after the arrest of her mother and stepfather, Barbara and Larry Carrasco.
And the parents are not saying anything at this point about where this little girl may be?
No, we've had a number of conflicting stories.
I was completely afraid that I was going to get sent back home. So for some reason, they wouldn't believe me, and they would just send me back home. It was going to be like 10 times worse for me. And Larry, with a gun, pointed at me and told that if anybody's to ask where Alexia is, you tell them that she's with her father in Chicago. So I did.
We didn't know what we were dealing with. We didn't know if the child was alive, just somewhere else.
I did remember asking, and they told me that Alexia was with her father in Chicago, which I've never even heard of.
Her birth father said he hasn't heard from her since April, and no one in her Elk Grove neighborhood has seen her since July.
I don't know how to explain this without it sounding really terrible. She was the only person in the world that could tell us what happened to her sister, and we had her. And she was going to a place where I thought we could find out, and I wasn't about to let go or stop or in any way lessen my effort. I don't know why I did it, but I locked the doors to the room we were in. Your sister is unaccounted for. We need to find out what happened. And she, you know, go f yourself. I'm not going to help you do anything. But I wasn't going to leave there without knowing.
They both seemed happy we finished the shakes. Larry and Mom leave us at the table. I take this chance and take Alexia into our bathroom. I tell her to be quiet. I turn on the sink to have the sound of the water. I show Alexia how to put her fingers down her throat so she can throw up. I do it myself, and I rid myself of the bleach. The concoction tastes even worse coming back out.
Eventually we got to the point where I said to her, you were Alexia's mom. You took care of her. You made her feel safe. She felt best when she was with you. When that happened, she just lost it. Just lost it. She just started crying. That's when she started appreciating the need to stand up for Alexia and to look out for Alexia. And at that point, she started telling us what had happened.
On the 8th day, I was brought out to have a shake, and Larry's staying with me to make sure I finish my shake while Barbara's in the bathroom. And I really wasn't aware at the time, but my sister was in the bathroom with her. And they were doing who knows what to her in there, but she brings her out completely naked and lays her on the hallway floor, and she starts saying that she's not breathing, and she attempts CPR.
She does not try long. A sob leaves my chest. They do not notice. 2 breaths are all my mom does. No chest compressions, nothing. I take one more look over and my mom is smiling, looking down at Alexia. This is when I know for sure my sister is dead and that my mom is happy about it. The next thing I see is Larry putting Alexia's body in a large black trash bag. It is dark, and we've been driving for a while now. I think we may be lost. It might be a better way to die, being lost by the Sacramento River. We finally stop. The unknown is worse right now. They pick a spot along the river, a mess of trees, mud, and miles of nothing around. I watch as Larry takes the cooler to the water's edge. He slips a bit in the mud. How I wish he would fall in. Opening the cooler, he tosses the white lid and turns the red cooler upside down. I watch now, knowing why we are here. This is her final resting place. The ashes slowly fall out of the cooler, into the breeze, floating down to the land on the water. She's gone. There is nothing left.
After a year of searching, Sacramento Detective Mona Fuyard and FBI Agent Jeff Reineck leave the Sacramento County Jail, having turned the corner on what happened to 6-year-old Alexia Real, who's been missing since the summer of 1997.
We just served murder warrants on Barbara and Larry Carrasco for the murder of their daughter, Alexia Real.
Larry and Barbara were in Sac County Main Jail waiting for their, trials or whatever they were going to do. Barbara immediately started giving up Larry and was trying to paint the picture that Larry was the main factor in Alexia being dead.
I felt nothing because I'd been living with this weird sense of, altered reality, not knowing what's real or not, because you expect your parents are going to tell you the truth, and if they say there's demons, well, then I guess there's demons, but then you don't think that they should be murdering people. So it was very twisted.
At today's preliminary hearing, an expert witness evaluated pictures of the wounds from which the girl is recovering, and she described the danger of feeding a child bleach.
It can cause burns and cause scar tissue on the esophagus that could be life-threatening and certainly permanently disabling.
When the preliminary hearing is resumed Friday afternoon, the court's expected to hear specific testimony about the alleged crime itself.
I was brought out of my room and told to follow them, and I was brought into their master bedroom closet, and laying on the closet floor is the trash bag with my sister inside. And they proceeded to dismember her body while I was forced to watch. And then I was brought out into the main living room where they had the fireplace going.
Larry says he thinks the fire is hot enough now. I'm lost. Hot enough for what? He brings over the filled black trash bag. Larry opens it up and grabs a large handful, and he tosses it into the fire. After a few minutes, he sends another handful of what used to be my 5-year-old little sister into the flames.
So I went around to the neighbors to ask them if they remembered that smoke. And they did. And they remembered the stench. And I would ask them, did it ever occur to you that it wasn't right? Did it ever occur to you to call the sheriff's department to just come out and look at that? No. Everybody lives in a little bubble and doesn't want the bubble pierced.
Sheriff's Lieutenant Jim Cooper was relieved to hear that Barbara Carrasco now admits she helped kill her own daughter, pleading guilty to second-degree murder.
I'll be honest with you, we see child abuse cases quite frequently where children are abused and end up dying. That's not uncommon. But to have a case like this and go to those extremes, this is out of the ordinary.
Larry Carrasco claims he's innocent. He maintains his wife tortured and killed his little stepdaughter.
I couldn't believe my dad would ever do that. I couldn't believe my dad would ever do that.
But a jury did not buy his story. He's going to prison.
My goal simply was to put him in a position where he couldn't touch a child again, and that's been achieved today, so I'm very satisfied.
In court, Larry Carrasco showed no emotion when the judge gave him 40 years to life in prison.
Like, it's a blur to him, I think. And I think it's because, like, of all the pills and the drugs and stuff. It was devastating. It still bothers me to this day. I still have a lot of emotions for it. I think he's very remorseful. And I think he's very sorry about what happened. And I think that if he could relive it, he would change a lot of things. I really do. Because that's not who he is. You know? It's just not who he was. Not at all.
The mother got 15 years to life. In court, she kept her head down and tugged on her hair while her hands twitched. All the while, Carrasco's 16-year-old daughter sat 2 rows behind, quietly weeping. Friends say Jessica will graduate from high school early, would like to attend law school and eventually work with children. They say the teen's biggest challenge will be dealing with the unforgettable suffering inflicted by her own mother.
And I can honestly say, as a teacher, knowing lots of students, this girl is going to make a difference.
I don't want Jessica to ever feel alone again, because the one thing I did feel from her during that interview was that she was alone. She had no one. I mean, she literally had to go to a teacher to report what Larry had done to her.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Doing good.
I had been searching for her for years, wanting to apologize for the interview I did.
Why?
Well, when you see me get emotional, I mean, I'm remembering the pain I caused her. Oh, she was in such pain. Her whole life was destroyed. Can you imagine what she'd been through?
So I have a question. How has our relationship over the last few years helped you heal from your guilt from the way you treated me in that initial interrogation? Because I never felt bad.
I cherish what we have, but I still judge myself. I become absolutely obsessed with recovering the lost children. And in your case, Jessica, I put Alexia before you.
I wanted her to know that I cared. I cared about Alexia, I cared about her. I didn't want her to think that I would have done this to her and just gone off and lived my life, because I didn't.
Even though you were just trying to find the truth?
Sometimes the truth comes at a very heavy expense.
This is my father right here. This is my dad. It's one thing, he always had big hands. Look how big his hand is compared to my mom's. My 7th grade graduation. He's right there. And my dad showed up in his uniform from work. And yeah, that was in 1990. So this is about maybe 6 years before. I know he loves me. I just wish a lot of this never happened. It's kind of hard looking through that book. So it just shows like a lot of times that we had where there were good times.
Hey.
This is for my sister.
You want me to sign it personalized or just?
Lisette.
Oh, you pre-ordered?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
All right, everyone, it's 6 o'clock. What you've all been waiting for, let's welcome Jessica Reel to share her story with her community.
Most of you already know because you already lived it or saw it on the news 30 years ago, the horrific events that took my sister's life. But I wrote a book to let people know that you can come out on the other side.
My husband asked her last night, had a fire, we were sitting outside, and said, why is it that you didn't go? Because a lot of the foster care kids are on the streets now that she knew, and what was it? Because it wasn't us. It wasn't, what was it that made it so you did not go down the path that many abused kids go? And she looked at him and she said, I made a choice. And that explains Jessica Reel.
Tammy's the mom I should have had.
Why do you say that?
Because she's never left my side, even when I was awful. And I was awful sometimes. Yes, thank you, Miss Cooper. Thank you, Jess. What I have here is basically all of what I have that includes Alexia, or in the time frame that she was actually alive. Alexia's first birthday picture, and this is her birth. So this proves, that she was, and she was somebody, she was a person. But there's a couple of them, like this one and this one. I'm glad to have them, but they're the last photos ever taken of her, and it was probably a week before she was murdered. What hits me most is when my children have grown older than she was at the time of her death, and they're doing things that she never got to do. Like when they start kindergarten, or have like birthday parties and friends over and all of these milestones that never happened. That's when it gets to me, because I'm like, man, she really missed out on a lot of stuff. And then from time to time I do think about what would she have grown up to be? Would she have children now? Would we be living close? My kids would have an aunt, would they have cousins? Like, I do think of that stuff, but it's not as tangible as watching my children outgrow her.
The dog got in the way. Sam, you ready?
I mean, anytime I get to do anything with them, especially individually, it means everything. I feel proud because I'm giving my kids the life that I wish I could have had. And I always said, as long as my kids are happy, I don't care. If they go to college, no college. If they, get married, don't get married, whoever they choose to be, as long as they're happy, self-sufficient, I don't care. But despite your circumstances, if you make a choice and you work hard, you can become whatever you want, and that you're worthy of being loved and you aren't broken.